And welcome everyone to this year's edition of the Ontario Prospect Challenge. I'm Wayne Jacobs here with Darren Castalda, and a little bit of a different format as we watch the end around here to get things started for the Team East. And again, just a little bit of a different format here. And Darren, unlike a lot of what we did in the past was they had the two teams, if you will, they kind of went toe to toe. You had Ontario split into two. This year, what they've done is they've broken it into four. In terms now, Darren, you played a lot in the Ontario leagues or whatnot, and you played in a few All-Star games yourself. What do you think are some of the keys to to success as a player in this game?
Second and 6.
Oh, you got to have a good old lineman and a good old line. Kind of a little bias here, but yeah, I like to have a good line to have that game to be able to run whenever you want and pass pro for your quarterback whenever you need.
And that looks to be Dylan O'Leary off tackle. And we take that back. That's Spadaccini with the Cumberland Panthers, a running back. Spadaccini's a 5-foot, 120-pound running back from the Cumberland Panthers team, which is an East Ottawa club here, just in the east end of Ottawa. Absolutely beautiful day here at TD Place in the nation's capital. 1st and 10 for the East All-Star team. Pitch out off tackle here. It's down to about, and they're looking. He's getting outside. And you'll notice that, folks, everything is marked the 11-yard line. So you'll bear with me. We're not going to get great markings for you, but we will try to get it. But I will say that Spadaccini seems to have passed the 11-yard line once again, Darren, and they're looking to get to the next 11-yard line. Not quite sure what the 11s are about. We'll find that out a little later. I've never seen that, and I just happened to notice it as we're getting this.
Someone's lucky number for the day.
Yeah, no suit. So anyways, judging by what we got here, we got them looking at their outside about the 10, the 20, the 30-yard line right now, and they're looking at second and, well, we'll say a long one for the Team East here. Ball snapped. Bit of misdirection play. Looks like it's going to be awfully close here. And that's Connor Vaness, the quarterback, 5'2", 140 pounds, out of the Canada Knights program, previously the Canada March Hares. And they will give him the first down, so they're going to renew here with a new set of downs. So 1st and 10 for the East squad. And now, Darren, you talked about the offensive line a little bit, and I'll ask you this, just as being an ex-O lineman. It's no mystery to anybody, even the novice. The novice fan and and for the advanced fan, it's always, you know, they know the importance of the O-line, and they know how long it takes for the O-line to gel, for lack of a better term. My question is it possible in a game like this for the O-line to effectively gel together when you only have a couple of days of practice, or maybe 3-4 practices ahead of you? And we'll touch on that in 1 second as we watch number 7, Brody Bampton, go off tackle, and Bampton still on his feet, and he's going to bring it down almost to that second last 11-yard line, which in my humble opinion is the 20. So we'll say that Brody got it down about the 22. And Darren, sorry I interrupted you. We'll give you a chance to answer that question.
It's definitely possible. It does take a little bit of work. You know, it's guys just clicking together. These are all supposed to be all-star players, so you know they all know their jobs. They've all been taught well at some level, and you know it's just time and clicking and getting guys to know each other and being buds.
So with that brings up a 1st down and 10. Team East threatening to score on their first drive. Play action, roll out wide open in the flat. Oh, and it just goes through the hands. And that's the quarterback again. Number, I believe that was Connor Vaness again. And not at this age that they would have film here, Darren, but I think that Connor's probably going to look at that and see that he had Jelani Theodore of the St. Lazare Stallions wide open there if he could have just threw it a little bit further downfield. Again, not that they're going to look at film, but I think he's going to, if he sees the replay on that, he's going to be kicking himself. So that'll bring up a 2nd down and 10. I formation for the East. Toss out. Bring it down to about the 20, down to the 50. He's going to slash it down to about the 17, maybe the 18-yard line. And again, that's a name that we've called a bunch so far. Brody Bampton, a bit of a slasher from the Canada Knights program. And there appears to be flags on the field. And you know, when they're at that location, they're usually against the offense. And you know what? It looks like they may, yeah. offside on the offense. So that one's going to come back. Or, well, they'll see. That was second down there, Darren. I think they'll probably elect, especially at this level. I think a 25-yard field goal is far from a chip shot at 12 years old. And with that, they're going to accept the penalty. So that brings up second down, and it'll make it 20 here. Well, let's see what these. A little bit of an end-around action here. That's number 31, Antonio Corsi, still on his feet. Corsi brings it back to just past the original line of scrimmage there, Darren. And definitely a situation here where they're looking at now. It looks like they're sending in 3. So could this be a field goal attempt for them? Or actually, you know what, Darren? I believe that it is 4 downs they're playing at the younger level. So I stand corrected. I do apologize. It is 4 downs here, folks. The first 2 games, the minor and the underclassmen, will be 4 downs. So take a look and see what happens here. 3rd down, and we'll call it a very long 9. A pitch out. Bampton. He's not going. Yes, he is, folks. Stays on his feet. Met by a crowd of defenders there. And a great job by Brody Bampton to avoid that first tackle. You see him cut outside. You see his ability to avoid the tackle. But like I said, the ultimate team game football. I mean, you might break 1, you might even break a second. You're not breaking 5 there, Darren.
No, yeah, got big 92 Nicholas Kempton there. He's the tallest boy on that Central team, and he's a big boy, and he swallowed up a lot.
Well, at 5'8", that's usually a good. So they're going to go for it on 4th down and nothing doing here. Vanessa in trouble. He's going to go down, and that's going to be a turnover on downs. And really, Darren, I don't think they had any other option but then to go for it there.
No, not that. You know, like we said, they 25-yard for a field goal. That's quite a big one for these kids.
No, definitely. I mean, heck, I've seen a few leagues where it's, men in their 20s and 30s that can't hit a 25-yard field goal consistently. So with that, nice opening drive by the East, and did that kind of get the butterflies out there? And you played in an all-star format before. Do you find that do you have the same butterflies you would have as during the regular season or during your regular games, or is it a different thing? Or can you talk to that a bit?
Yeah, I found sometimes, when you got to a high-level showcase tournament, sometimes there tended to be a few more butterflies because you had scouts and recruits looking at you for the next big possible thing. So,
and we'll get you to hold that thought as we're down to the 20. Look out, he is gone all the way. First play for the Central team. It's going to be housed. And folks, this is what the All-Star game is all about. And I want to say that's Cameron Park. We'll do a double. It was Cameron Park, number 30 of the Oshawa Hawkeyes. And Darren, you talk about I guess a contrast of styles. You had the East, and that's got to kind of take some of the wind out of their sails. As they had that nice drive, they drove basically.
Yeah, they had a few good plays, moved the ball, ate up some time on the clock.
But you know what? Right now, all that and $2 gets them a cup of coffee, and I think the price of coffee just went up at Starbucks, so I don't even think they get a coffee with that. So with 9:04 to go in the opening quarter, a big run by Oshawa's Cameron Park puts the team Central up by a major score with the convert pending right now. And they're going to line up here. It's much like the similar format, so I believe, I'm going to double check here, folks, and we'll get it, but I believe at the minor level, they go for it. This is going to count for 1 point. And did that? Yes. Yep. Nice grab, and you don't really see. We'll see what the flag is. Everybody's trotting off the field, and the refs seem content to move to the next play. So I'm thinking that maybe this one's going against the D. Well, wait a minute, folks. Procedure on the offense. They're staying on, which is a shame because at this level to complete that, bit of an arm by the quarterback we saw there. With that, we get a good look at that O-line, and you take a look there, Darren, and you see, that number 52, Mohan Arkish, 5'9", 185-pounder. Again, some of you 20-year-olds or 30-year-olds or even 19-year-olds out there, 5'9", 180 is not going to seem all that big, but we're talking a 5'9", 185 12-year-old.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
At most. I mean, he may be 11, he may even be 10, and you see him there, and I mean, it's just, you know, he's got a future in this game. So with that, it pushes them back 5 yards in the wishbone formation. And we've got another flag there. Let's see. Both teams jump simultaneously. When that happens, it's usually going to be called on the offense. Let's see where the refs go with this one. They're going to sort it out. They appear to be talking amongst themselves. Let's see what they're saying here. They're going to give offside on the defense. So he who giveth is he who taketh. They're going to go right back, and we're going to start this thing all over again from the 5-yard line for the convert here. And, folks, don't forget, as always, you can catch great football streaming action here on CanadaFootballChat.com. So back, we've got team is central under this, basically in the wishbone formation. They give sweep off tackle. He's got one more guy to beat here. He could get to the corner. He's going to get there, and that's number 80 for the central team, Ty Harris, again from the Durham Dolphins. And right there, you just see, and he does a little bit of a dance in the end zone, and then you see that strength. And again, you know, it's funny because even at a young age, 5'2", 95, they get the concept, and you see him there. Kind of fighting off tackles, Darren.
Mm-hmm. Sure did. He had a little bit of speed there and got up to the outside quite well.
Well, he seems to be limping right now, so all that's said and done, and it's 7-0 for the Central team. And, of course, you're watching the 2015 Ontario Prospect Challenge here on CanadaFootballChat.com. And again, there won't be any kickoffs, so they're about ready to scrimmage you. They're going to scrimmage from, again, we're going to call it the 35. We won't call it the 11 plus 5. And actually, that's the 45. Sorry, folks, that's the 45. So here comes Team East, and there's going to be more flags, and that play should have probably been blown dead. Yeah. But off tackle here, going to go. We're going to get about 5-yard run. And he's still on his feet here, folks. Quite the run right now, and that's number 29, again, from the Cumberland Panthers. That's Dante Spadaccini. And we'll see what happens here, but I think that one's going to be that play should stand, actually, Darren. I think they were just in the neutral zone.
I'm going to say that looked to me like a defensive jump there, so.
No, and the refs, what you think you saw is what you saw. As the refs confirm your thoughts, Darren, 1st and 5 will come up, so I guess they elect to redo the downs. I'm surprised with that a little. He looked like he picked up about 7-8 yards, and you still got 3 more to go.
You know, it's roll of the dice. You know, do you take the 1st and 5 or, you know, 2nd and 3?
So we shall see what happens here. So back under center now. We've got a new quarterback in for Team Ontario, Team Ontario East, and that's Justin Shibley, number 12. Shibley rolling out. Shibley's got some room. Nice room. Shibley cuts back. Shibley showing some stuff here. Justin Shibley, it brings it down, and he's going to have the 1st down and more. And Shibley looks very good rolling out here. And Shibley, a local product, again, plays his off-season. He plays with the Myers Riders. So, I mean, this is a chance to get. And I know Shibley trains in the Ottawa area with the National Capital Quarterback Academy, and I do know that Shibley is one of the best prospects of his age in this city. Shibley again under center here, I formation. Ooh, not a well-advised play, and you see sometimes there's the little bit of the age coming into fact here. You got to get that out of your system by the time you're, I would say, by the time you're about 14 years old.
You got to get that out quick. There, you know, Coach says jump at this age, and they said how high, and Coach said toss in that case, and he tossed away when he should have kept and, you know, hope for the best.
So there we go, a little bit of a break, but here comes Team Ontario East, and we'll just go on the East team. And once again, they got a 2nd down here. Quarterback Justin Shibley, 2nd drive for the East team. I formation, 2 receivers at the top of the screen to the bottom. Seems to be a little problem with the snap exchange. Shibley in trouble. He's got to secure that football, folks. It's one of the first things you're going to learn, and you're going to teach a young quarterback here. And I think that we'll see. Do they retain possession? And I think they did. They got lucky here. It looked like there was nothing but white jerseys around that, Darren.
Yeah, I thought they, could be switching up the field for sure.
So with that brings up 3rd and long, and by long we mean long. The East team, great opening drive, have slowed down ever since the huge run by the Central team. We got 3 receivers to the top of the screen. A pitch out. That's Spadaccini, and he's going to get wrapped up. Somebody was pulling there, and I think they forgot the mix behind them here, because Spadaccini is met, and he is met very quickly, and that's big number 91, Brandon Spence. Only 4'9", but comes in at 116 pounds as a D lineman, and again, shorter guy, but one of those stocky kids. If you take a look at him, he's not big, but he's not small. He's probably going to be a linebacker in future times if he keeps going. But nice player. That brings up 4th and long, and like we said, there's no kicking in this game, Darren. We were speculating with their field goal. There is no kicking, so they're going to go for it on each attempt here. So let's see what they've got up their bag in their bag of tricks. Give up the middle here. And I think, Darren, that was just to keep the bleeding to a minimum.
Yeah, just, try and rally the boys and get a few yards and not much.
And it's tough in this concept. It truly is. I mean, you look at it, and the way you also have to look at it is you take it, you say, they're 12-year-olds and 11 and 12, so the passing game's not quite as developed as it will be at someday.
Yeah.
And so to sit back and say, I'm going to try to get the first down on 4th and 15 by going through the air. I think Vince Lombardi would bring up his own thing, I think it was Woody Hayes who once said, when you pass, 3 things happen, 2 things are bad. So let's get a chance. Now the the Central offense, Darren, we really haven't seen them on the field at all.
No, they had that one big play, and
that was it. So we're seeing again the wishbone, the favored wishbone from the Central team. And again, there's that sweep that we saw earlier. Cutback, beautiful cutback. And that's number 37. That's Mason Watson. And he cuts back against the grain. And I think the speed is killing them right now. 2 plays, 2 touchdowns for the team Central. And right now, spirits have to be a little bit low for that team Ontario East. What do you think, Darren?
Yeah, that's pretty devastating. Like you just said, 2 offensive plays. That means 2 defensive plays for the Central or the East, and that's pretty devastating morale-wise.
Well, you saw it there, and I think, and again, it's not to detract from any of these young men here, but I think one of it is that you saw it. It was just not good tackling right there. It was poor tackling for the, and I mean, it's something that you'd expected. And again, they're only 12-year-olds, but it is an all-star game format. You'd expect a little bit better there. And you saw it on the first one, on Park's run, he just outran the Cameron Park outran the opposition. Yeah. Whereas right there, Mason Watson seemed to cut across and then cut back and kind of slash through it. So again, that wishbone formation wreaking havoc for Team Ontario East as a quick 13-0 lead, and they're looking to add to it here. And can they finally stop them? Maybe, sort of. I don't know, Darren. This has got to be. That's big.
It looked like he stepped out of bounds there with a yard or 2 to go.
He did. That's Julius Joseph Brown, and we're seeing, I'm telling you, right now, there's some running back talent being showcased here by Team Central. Well, Darren, we're almost at 5-minute point of the first quarter here. It's a 13-0 game. What do you do if you're the coaching staff for the East team right now to kind of keep the boys motivated, especially on the defensive side, because you want to talk about a lot of success. They basically run 4 plays, 2 converts and 2 plays from scrimmage, and they've scored 3 of the 4 times they've touched the ball.
You gotta rally them together and have quite the pep talk, and give them quite the booster speech, and tell them to keep their heads high, and hopefully that rubs off on them.
Well, hopefully it does here, because this one has a chance to be getting out of hand rather quickly. As we take a look here, and again, it's 13-0 with 5 to go here from the nation's capital, and right now that they're talking to that East defense and trying to, and it's not even a point of getting lighting a fire, it's a point of keeping them motivated. And things go from bad to worse for the Central team as quarterback Connor Vanez gets sacked. And again, a team that was moving on, I don't want to say on all cylinders, moving nicely in the first quarter. Darren, they just look like a different squad since that opening touchdown.
I mean, getting that two scores against their defense, it's contagious to the rest of the team, and it's going to set the morale. So. Brings
up 2nd down and 15 for the East team here. and there's a player down. That looks to be Vaness, the quarterback, Connor Vaness. So we might get another look at Justin Shibley here. We'll find out momentarily. But as it stands right now, we'll see what's the matter with Vanessa here. And Darren, 5-10 minutes into this one, what are your thoughts so far in terms of the competitiveness? Is what you thought you might see? Is it a little more than, considering their age?
It's a little more than what I thought. You got some big boys out here, like that number 92, Nicholas Kempton, at 5'8", 217, at, 10 or 12 years old. That's a big boy, Scouts, guys, you're watching out for this guy, but... we got some speed. Not too much to say for the Central offense. We haven't seen much of them or East defense, but it's a lot more so far than I've expected.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's been a performance, that's for sure. That Central offense has just come out. And I mean, between Cameron Park and number 37, Mason Watson, we've seen some great plays here. So Shibley back in at quarterback for the Eastern squad here. They go trips to the field. So 3 receivers to the bottom of your screen. Shibley drops back. A little bit of a confusion. The drop back flips it out Brett Favre-like. And are they going to give him the catch? No, they're saying that's incomplete. Shibley looking a little like Brett Favre, like old school Brett Favre.
Yeah.
Rolling out there and just kind of doing the old, like we said, Favre-like pass out there. And so with the incompletion, that brings 3rd down. And again, it's an all-star format, so you don't want to say sense of urgency because at the end of the day, there's no standings, there's no real takeaway.
There's no next game. This is
exactly.
This is it.
I mean, there is no tomorrow for both these teams, but on the other hand, you do want to be competitive. And right now for the East team, this has the threat of getting away from them. They go quads to the top of the screen. That pitch out, that's going to be number 7, the Canada March Harris. Or sorry, I said Canada March Harris. I meant Canada Knights, Brody Bampton. There I go, dating myself. And that's Bampton off the tackle. And again, 1st down, and maybe that's what they have to look at here. A good dose of Spadaccini and Bampton, Darren.
Yeah, Brody sure did. He's got some speed too, and he can get out there on the edge, and they like to give the ball to him on the outside.
And with that, 3 minutes and 20 seconds in time counting here, Team East looking to get a score before the end of the quarter. Again, Shibley off tackle. That looks to be Bampton again. No, check that. And we'll get you a number on the carry right there. I believe it's another Canada Knight product. We will confirm that momentarily for you. And we can tell you it's definitely Canada Knight. And unfortunately, it's the one problem with the Prospect All-Star jersey. And it was Bampton there. And it's like I've always joked with them. They got to put the numbers on the front for us as well, Darren.
Yeah.
This isn't hockey.
Some of us aren't so young anymore. And, they don't give us binoculars up here to see those little guys down there.
No, true that. So, and speaking of who we were speaking of, here comes in Spadaccini right now. So we'll see what Spadaccini brings to the table. Shibley give to Spadaccini, fumbled on the play, brings up a 3rd down here. And again, Darren, you're seeing some of the problems that can happen or can occur with this all-star type format where there's not a lot of cohesion, I guess you could say, or cohesiveness for lack of
Yeah, there's that, and I've been noticing, the Central team, their nose tackle and D tackle they're 2 big boys for this age group. You got a 5'4" and 5'8" and 217 and 154 guys, and that East O-line kind of just looks undersized compared to those 2 boys.
Well, I mean, you just don't. I'm sure we can go across the roster here, but it's funny. We can go up a level. I would argue we could go up to the JV level, and you're going to be hard-pressed to find 217-pounders.
Yeah.
We looked, you brought that up, and I look across the board, and I mean, I think the West, I'm looking at the Eastern squad, and I think their biggest player may be looking at about 165, so you're dead on that, Darren. I mean, if you can control it, we see it. It's probably one of the most undervalued things in football is just that one tackle, that nose tackle that just can kind of take control of the middle.
Yeah, and I got to say that 165 that you pointed out, he's a receiver. He's not even one of their O-linemen.
So there you go. So we'll see what happens here if they make some adjustments. They can do it. And you see it, and I think that's what you hit it on the head right now. The Central team is just controlling the line of scrimmage.
They're just, it's I don't want to say boys against men, but it's almost like it is boys against men. You got Goliath versus David here.
Now, having said that, though, I will say this: this is their third drive, and they've been able to drive the field 2 out of 3 times. It's not like they're being shut down here. It's just they can't finish, and I mean, you get the momentum of a nice long drive, you blink, and the other team's gone on and ripped off an 80-yard touchdown. Shibley drops back to pass, looking. He's under pressure. He's going to roll out to his right. He's going to fire that. That's going to be a little bit high over the receiver's head. Almost there. Shibley makes a nice rate to get it out there. You just got to get it down and get it to him. And with that incompletion, that brings up 2nd down and 10 for Team East here. And again, there is no tomorrow. There is no next game. There are no standings. But in terms of just this game here, Darren, I think a score is needed here by the Team East.
Oh, yeah, for sure. If they want to have any hope of, getting a point on the score or some points on the board and, keeping team morale up for the second half, they need to get one soon.
And so with that, there's 57.7 seconds to go. The ball is on the 32-yard line, and there seems to be a timeout on the field here. So both teams are going to get organized here as Team East looking to make a ball game of this. And again, you're watching this replay of the 2015 Ontario Prospect Challenge here on CanadaFootballChat.com. And this is Wayne Jacobs with Darren Castalda on an absolutely beautiful day here in the nation's capital. Absolutely gorgeous here, Darren. It's probably about 22 degrees for you that can't be here today or weren't able to be at the games, with a very slight breeze. That breeze that makes everything enjoyable but doesn't affect anything negatively. And just a great day for football. Major contrast to last year. I remember last year we were in Guelph, and it was probably about 4 or 5 degrees with the wind whipping in at probably about 50 or 60 an hour type of thing. And actually by the last game, I think that wind chill was about -4 or 5.
Oof, no one wants to be around watching those games. Not even mom and dad.
No, and that's just that cold, bitter spring wind. I remember it well. I remember being on the sidelines and just actually towards the end of it, watching the game from inside the tunnel and just coming out and doing an interview and jumping right back in that tunnel because it was not pleasant out. So with that, 2nd and 10 here, Jordan Shibley coming in for the injured Connor Vaness. So let's see what Shibley can do, if he can engineer something here to get the East back into this game. Shibley looks like a little bit of, end around here. There, look, fake double reverse. Nobody really bought, and again, it just seems like you hit it on the head. The problem is that they have these plays that they're trying to execute, but they're just, at the point of attack, they're just getting beaten up. I mean, Shibley going to give the reverse is almost being brought down. I don't care what you have up your sleeve or how much speed you have. If you're getting tackled before you're making the initial handoff, you're in trouble.
Yeah, for sure.
And so here we go. They're 3rd and 14. We'll call it 15 here. And they're going to motion. We got 3 receivers to the field side. Off top of your set. Shibley pitches it out to Spadaccini. Nothing doing for Spadaccini. And again, you see it there. That initial penetration. They're almost hitting Shibley. I mean, I see the coach down there talking to Justin Shibley, but I mean, I don't know what you'd be saying to him. I mean, they're almost hitting him as he's going to make that pitch.
Yeah, well, Shibley didn't do his teammate a favor that time. That pitch was a little high, Spadaccini had to, do a little jump to grab that ball that time.
Definitely a good point there. Again, Shibley's pitch high, but I question if it's not part of it being the fact that Shibley's getting hit as he's pitching the ball. Like, I mean, we're seeing it. Since you brought that up with the tackles, you're seeing it right now. The initial penetration and the pressure on this ground game has been absolutely phenomenal. So with that looks to be the end of the first quarter here. And it's funny, Darren, because it's 13-0, and it's definitely a 13-0 lead. It should be 13-0. But I think it's a bit of a misnomer to say that this has been all Team Central. I mean, the East has moved the ball. They've gone from their 45 to the opposition's 25. They've done it at least twice. They've shot themselves in the foot a few times.
Yeah.
And really,
they've definitely had a lot more ball time or
Well, that's the only advantage I give to them right now, to be honest with you. And again, it's one of those games where if I'm a coach, I'm thinking maybe it's a war of attrition here. I'm winning the battle of that in the sense that you're hoping that eventually you wear down this central defense. So Shibley, again, the end around nothing doing it. It's just going from bad to worse here for this team Central, or for Team East as they try to get things going. Central team will take over. And what I was saying there is just, if there is a silver lining in the way this is unfolding, if you will, for lack of a better term, I would think it would almost be in the fact that that Central defense has got to be getting tired.
For sure, as you watch them, those big boys, those D linemen, they're walking off the field while you got your linebackers and corners who are jogging off, and your big boys get tired quickly out there.
So at the end of the first quarter of play here, it is the Team Central All-Stars 13 and the Team East no score. And we're about ready here from TD Place to get started with second quarter action. This is Wayne Jacobs. I'm with Darren Castalda, and you're watching, of course, on CanadaFootballChat.com, Canada's absolutely number one site for anything football, amateur and beyond. So, Darren, I guess the big question is can they make it 3 for 3? Can they go a little Reggie Jackson on action on them and score for a third time on a third touch? I think the odds are against them, but...
well, only time will tell. We'll find out in a few seconds here.
So, again, we see that, and I'm going to call it that vaunted wishbone for Team East. Again, dive up the middle. Big bruising back, and again, they didn't quite get the same distance, if you will, but my argument here is again, it's
their third play. You got to give a little love to all your running backs. You got to let them all touch the ball.
No, you're exactly right, but that's the fullback, and if you tell me at any level my fullback's going to go get me 5 yards a carry, I'm pretty happy. And that was Joshua Okajimi, 5'3", 140-pound fullback, so you see that size. And again, this wishbone looking like it's problems. Again, a little misdirection off tackle. Slashing, and again, that's Mason Moore, I want to say. Or sorry, check that. Mason Watson out of the York Simcoe Bucks with the first down. And now it looks like the East defense has tightened up a little bit, but again, we're still looking at, instead of 80 yards a carry here, we're still looking at 5-6 yards a carry, which just isn't going to cut it for this East defense.
No, if I'm an offensive coach, I'm still, we're laughing again. 5-6 yards a carry, perfect. I'll take that every day.
Talk about making your life easier, making you look like a genius. 5-6 yards a carry. Again, off tackle. Here we go. A lot of room. Oh, what a block by Mason Moore. He gets him outside there, and this is going in again. This looks like they're going to house this one again, and this is getting completely out of hand here. And we got to give credit here. And that was number 33, Julius Joseph Brown of the Etobicoke Eagles. And the guy who gets credit here, and I keep calling him Moore, but it's Mason Watson. Mason Watson, the 5'3", 125-pound back, who's already had a nice touchdown run of his own. He threw a great block, just sealing that defender and allowing Julius Joseph Brown to hit the edge there. Once Joseph Brown got that edge, it was over. And, I mean, I think right now you equated it almost to boys against men. I just think there's just such a difference in speed right now on this in terms of their backfield and that defense on the East side, because that East, once they get the corner, and you see it, Darren. If we get any chance, folks, watch this. There's the give to the big fullback and nothing doing, folks. There's going to take a look at that. That's a true fullback, Darren. And again, this one's getting a little bit out of hand. I believe that's number 31, Joshua Okajimi. And right now, with 13 minutes to go in the second half, or in the first half here, this one, I'd say that I'd say the results becoming less and less in question here, Darren, at this point.
Yeah, it's I almost want to say the nail's been put in the coffin already.
And it's tough because you got a lot of players that haven't played. There's not the pride. There's not the and when I say pride, there's pride. Please let me validate that statement. There's a lot of these kids put a lot of time. The coach put a lot of effort, so there's a certain degree of pride in their level of play. A great deal of pride. When we talk about the pride, it's not an individual team thing. It's not a season thing. You're not battling for the colors.
There's no brotherhood here on these teams. There's still pride, like you say, you want to play and win, but that brotherhood of
these guys are all going to play against
season.
each other. In fact, these guys are going to play against each other in 2 months. And so I think in a game like this, it's tough to come bouncing back from this just because you don't have that, like you said, that brotherhood. So we'll see what the East has up their sleeve. Darren, what do you do if you're the East?
I'll pull a rabbit out of my hat.
Pretty much. I would think that would pretty much be the only solution here. Or get, or go down. I think the Ottawa Lions Track Club, one of their satellites tend to be somewhere around here. Go find yourself some sprinters, because I will tell you what, that Team Ontario East Central, they can move. And so there's a little pause in the action. Not sure if there's an injured player here or... Last time I checked, we weren't taking TV timeouts here. So with that, here comes Justin Shibley in at quarterback still, so we can only assume that Vanessa's still down here. So that brings up first down again for Team East. A little misdirection here. Gets outside a little bit. Nice breakdown. If he can get the corner here, he does. The 55 and a big play and something they needed there. That's number 31 for Team Ontario East. And that's Antonio Corsi, the running back from the South Gloucester Raiders. And you saw it a little bit there. That play developed quite nicely, Darren. Some block, they got the blocks that they've been craving right there off of there. You could see it develop.
Yeah, I sure did. And, they got that one play. Maybe they'll get some momentum going and, get their own touchdown now.
Like I said, it's never done till it's done. And quite frankly, here, a touchdown here would turn this into 13. Now, the only problem is them stopping that, but let's not talk about that right now. Let's see what this Team Ontario East, this Eastern All-Star squad can do. So a bit of a wing formation. Ball's fumbling again. Something that's going to happen in these games, but we're seeing it a lot more with the East than with the Central. And that's the trouble with the ball handling between the center and the quarterback, the exchanges between the running backs or the end arounds and the quarterback. It seems like the East is having a little more trouble than their counterparts on the Central side.
There's also that old knowing the playbook and communication and guys getting their signals mixed up here too. I felt like that one was a little someone thought to go right when they should have gone left.
No, you know what? It happens a lot. Same formation, Shibley. The pitch. A little bit of a hole here. Bampton's going to get some yards. Slices up. Nice read by the running back, Brody Bampton. And again, it's a shame because with the 20-point lead, it's hard to get out of that, or the 20-point deficit, rather, it's hard to get out of that mentality that we want to strike quickly. But right now, they got a bit of a nice drive here. They just got to stop shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah.
I mean, when they pick up positive yards, or I shouldn't say that. I mean, it's an obvious statement. You pick up positive yards, they've been positive. But whenever they don't have a misexchange or a penalty or problems of that sense, they're gaining 4 or 5 yards. I mean, again, granted, it's not the 80 yards we're seeing from the Central, but they're moving the ball nicely. It's just once they take that penalty, or right here, again, I don't know if this was by design or if this was just, Shibley's going to get hammered. I don't think in the game like this you're going to have a naked bootleg on.
No, that totally looked like miscommunication. He went to look to toss left, and no one was there, and tucked in went.
I think you summed it up a couple seconds ago. Right went left, and left went right, and that's been the story here for them because they do whenever they. And I don't want to say execute because I mean again I'm stating the obvious. The sun's hot. If you execute, you have success. But I'm saying when they don't shoot themselves in the foot, they're executing nicely the clip of 5-6 yards of play. But then they'll have the one play, takes them back 3-4 yards, and then they're looking at again. Right there, you had third or you I think you had 2nd and 12 from the mistakes. So anyways, 4th and 5 here. Shibley bobbles a snap, pitch, nothing doing here. This is just complete confusion. And again, you do get this from the All-Star game scenario. This isn't a. This isn't a slight or a shot on the players playing here. It's not easy, Darren. I do know, having coached in these games, yourself having played in these games, you have at best 4 practices. In a lot of cases, you have maybe 2, 3, that type of thing.
Yeah, it's tough when you get a new coaching staff, a new playbook, and you gotta learn a new coach's terminology and. In a week, like you say, in 4 or 5, maybe if you're lucky, practices, and throw it together and hey, let's have a fun.
No, but that's exactly it. So On that note, ball's turned over once again, and here's the big question: 10 minutes to go. What do you do if you're Team Central here, or Team East rather? It's again, it's been unfortunately one of those things that's just a bit of a mismatch here in terms of it goes across the board here, Darren, because it's not just the speed. You watch the play develop. I mean, if you folks are getting the wide angle that we're getting here, if you get a chance to watch, I mean, they're executing these blocks nicely. So that brings up 1st and 10. Again, the wishbone formation. Toss around the edge. They've got the numbers. Oh, nice job to kind of collapse the play. We're going to get a face mask. We've seen this before. They're there. Look out. He's got daylight. That's number 80 for the Ty Harris, and we've seen Harris do this before. Harris is going to get inside the 30-yard line if he stays on his feet to the 25. Harris to the 20, to the 15. Harris cuts back to the 10. He's going to be dragged down finally at the 6. And there's a face mask call here. It's just a question of who is it going against.
You know, you didn't say, but Cameron Park, number 30 on the Central team, I got to give that to him. That play he blocked, that D-end or linebacker came in, and if it wasn't for him, that play would have gone back 5 yards instead.
And we see the little things here from the Team Central, and that is, in fact, a face mask against Team East. So Ty Harris's run will stand. And, Darren, I like that you bring that up with Cameron Park, because that's the one thing we are seeing with their two backs. Cameron Park and, of course, number 37, Mason Watson, both with nice TD runs. Park getting us started with from the first play from scrimmage, the 70-yard touchdown run. But the big thing here, I think, Darren, and the most impressive thing is just the way they're blocking, like you said.
It goes back to execution. These guys, maybe they were lucky and got an extra practice or two in, and were able to gel and pick up the terminology a little more.
I think you're right. I think if it stems to execution, but I do think there's got to be something said for just that inherent. And I'm not saying that Canada guys don't have it, but it just seems like. I think the execution or the extra practice come in with being in the right place at the right time. But I'm also impressed with their desire. Like I could go to a lot of college and pro camps and find running backs that, especially on the run game. I mean, the football's evolved, especially the passing game. That if you're a running back out there, folks, and you can't catch or you can't pass block and you're a running back, your odds of playing become slimmer and slimmer. However, as a tailback, especially in a lot of single set, you just don't see the need to block, you know what I mean? So to run block. And so to have these kids here that are clearly tailbacks, are probably the featured backs in their offense, willing to be unselfish in this wishbone format, I'm sure that the Central staff wishes they could put this team together for the season. So with that brings up, we'll have 1st and goal here. We'll call it 1st and goal from the 1-yard line. Going in to look to take a 26 or more point lead here, and quite frankly, Darren, there is nothing that tells me that they're not going to score in 1 or 2 plays here.
No, I'm going to have to agree with you on that one.
And in at quarterback right now is Liam Dolan, seems to come in the game here. Seems to be a complete changeover, if you will, in the backfield. Number 32, that's Nicholas Lewis Joseph. He's in the game, and they've also replaced their fullback, so a little bit of a different backfield. Still in the game is Ty Harris, and I wouldn't be surprised if they gave the ball to Harris to reward him for that long run. We'll see what they do here. Pitch, and it is Ty Harris, and he is going to get reap the rewards of that. You know what, Darren? I'm okay with that. I think that's a good idea. That was one heck of a run by Ty Harris.
Yeah, he earned that touchdown. Being getting down to that 1-yard line, there's no reason not to give it to him. He got the team there. So.
And with that, Darren, this one is, I guess, kind of out of hand. 26-0 here with the convert pending. Team Central hitting on all cylinders. This ground game has been an absolute juggernaut here.
Yeah.
Again, we see that familiar wishbone formation that's starting to inspire a lot of fear in the Team East. That's got to be for sure. They give in the backfield. Here we go. Brings it down, and he's going to fall forward. I thought for a minute there that they were going to stop them, but again, that appears to be number 32, Nicholas Lewis Joseph, who falls forward with that one. And again now, Joseph, a product of the Durham, or check that, that's the Oshawa Hawkeyes. So was that Cameron Park who went in? I believe it was Cameron Park on the score, so I apologize to Cameron if it was. So right off the bat, it's off the edge. It looks like they stopped him, and it just shows, Darren, because this has been the story. Even when they're stopping them, is that initial contact was made, and these backs are falling forward for 3 or 4 yards. Like it's just, it's they've been all over them today. And with that, Darren, we got 9 minutes, 21 seconds left to go here. 27-0 for, well, we'll call it technically the visitors from Team Central. And Team Central just, makes up pretty much the GT area. You have the Durham Dolphins, the Scarborough Thunder, Oshawa Hawkeyes, York Simcoe Bucks are represented, Scarborough Thunder's represented. Just a whole slew of guys that are represented in this game. So a good GTA showing. And we saw in last year's game, it ended up being like GTA East versus the West squads. And we ended up having games that were, heavily weighted with some teams having, representation from one organization, 10, 15 guys. So this used to be an all-star game, and it ended up being more like, okay, one team's executing better than the other because they have the playing experience together. But at the end of the day here, I think you're seeing, maybe it's a numbers game or whatever, but it's just the pure speed of the GTA team right now is dominating the East squad, and we'll call it what it is. I mean, the Team Central is GTA, and Team East is pretty much Ottawa with the surrounding Cornwall and Kingston areas. And I mean, you're seeing that speed right now that's just absolutely wreaked havoc on the Central team, or on the East team rather.
It's tough to contain those running backs today. They've got, like I said, it just comes down to speed, and they're quick boys.
So we'll see who's going in at quarterback here and it appears to be Jordan Shibley again. So I'm assuming that Connor Vaness is out for the at least the half, if not longer. Shibley under center here. He's got 3 backs. Bampton goes into motion. Flip sided over, single tight end. Shibley, end around. And again, you see it, Darren. I don't know if it's, and again, you don't know the behind the scenes, but I think you hit it on them. We were talking about the blocking. It just seems like that Central team is a lot crisper. And again, to be fair to the players and the coach in the East, you don't know what kind of practice time or what parameters are set. And when I say crisper, I don't think it comes down to anything else other than the amount of time spent. They're not fundamentally unsound. They're not doing anything, you know what I mean? But it's just you see it. Whereas with the wishbone with them, they're just boom. They turn, they give the ball's where it's in. It seems like quarterback Shibley here takes a step too far into the running back, or the running back's gone this way, or like you said.
Even the Central defense, you haven't said anything about them, but they've seemed to switch their D-line from a 4 front to a 3 front. They've got a few different packages, it seems, even on their defense.
No, definitely seems like they may have had a little more prep time, and/or they seem to be adjusting to the I guess sense of urgency of the game a little quicker than the East team. Brings up 2nd down and 12. Shibley. This is when Spadaccini goes around the edge. Let's see if he can do anything here. Spadaccini's going to get to the 40. He's going to get to the original line of scrimmage, and he's going to get stopped right about the 48-yard line. So again, we see it when they're able to not, when the timing's there, they're picking up 4 or 5 yards a carry. No questions there. Problem has been for the East team is right now, this is their MO. First down, they lose 2-3 yards because the timing's not quite there. Next play, they make it up with 6-7 yards. Unfortunately, that leaves them with 3rd and 7 and 8. And again, at this level, we're not talking about QBs that throw the ball 40, 50 times a game or have the arm strength to throw 20-yard strikes downfield. Although I will say this, we've seen 2 I do know that having witnessed Shibley firsthand play, heck of a throwing arm that young man has, and I'm looking at the Team Central quarterback, and we saw him the one time just fire that into the zone coverage. So, again, Shibley, little Mr. And again, we're seeing it with just the timing and execution just is not there for them right now. And that's Antonio Corsi, but again, there's not much you can do, and I don't care unless your name is Barry Sanders or maybe Michael Vick. There's not a lot of people on this planet that can just stand still and go from 0 to 100
Yeah, that was another case of I should have gone left when I should have gone right.
Yeah, no, and you know what, Darren? I think we're looking at it. You brought it to our attention earlier, but I think it's not just one or two players. You know what I mean? I think it's like so. I think if I was to make it a little more accurate, I would say you have one or two. You should have went right when you should have left, and you have buddies that should have went north and you went south.
Yeah.
Because it just seemed like three different players on a different page. Warming up on the sidelines for Team East is Connor Vaness, so hopefully he's going to get back in, because that's one thing you never want to see as an injury in these games, where a player works the camps, comes in, and then doesn't get a chance to ply his trade. So that brings up first down, so the penalty on the play, a little bit of a break. Spadaccini, big hole if he can get through it. Spadaccini down to the 40, he's down to the 35, he's going to get dragged. No! Oh, they're saying he did step out of bounds at the 32-yard line. But you see the hole, and Darren, as good as Dante Spadaccini is, and this isn't a shot at Spadaccini, great running backs they do have, but you see the difference. It just seems like these the Team Central backs, if when they hit that hole, it's gone.
They've got that, that second and third gear they can kick in and just let it rip.
No, definitely. You hit it on the head. So anyways, we're taking a look here with finally the East team on the move. And I say finally because this is probably about their deepest penetration with a first down, for lack of a better term. But they've been moving consistently. It's just right here, they bogged down. So 32-yard line. Let's see what it can do. Traditionally, this is where it all comes to a stop for them. Shibley, under center, is going to take the snap, give it to the fullback. It's going up the middle, and that's going to get them again 3. And I like the play call there.
It was good, but they had a little bit of a mixed direction in the backfield. Once again, that right and left. We got some mix-up back there.
No, definitely, and that was Nicholas Matuk, the fullback, 5'1", 135 from the South Gloucester Raiders. And again, you saw the thing, and the reason I say I like the play call there, it's first down. We had some confusion in the backfield again. Just pound it at the middle. You got your 4 or 5 yards. They seem to be, like I said, and again, it sounds like I'm saying, the sun's hot, oxygen's good. So for lack of a better way of saying it, when they execute, they're having success. And by execution, I don't mean executing to a T like coaches. I'm just talking, Darren, you go right when you're supposed to. Wayne, you go left when you're supposed to, and I'm going to go forward. And if they do these things, they seem to be doing quite well, So with that brings up a very, I don't want to say, likable position for them. This is probably the best position they've been in all game. 32-yard line.
Yeah, they've been marching it really well this one.
Well, the key is to continue, because we've seen this is their 4th long drive. This is their 4th time inside the 35 of the opposition. It's just this is where they get bogged down. So with that, Shibley under center. He's going to give it Spadaccini. He's got a big hole. If he can get there, look out. Spadaccini's going to get down to the 20, and he's going to bring it down to about the 18-yard line. Check that. They're going to mark it at the 19. That's Dante Spadaccini. And we're seeing something from the Spadaccini kid, Darren.
Yeah, he's going to be their workhorse, it seems like, for the day. And he, number 5 there on the defense, even got dragged a couple of yards by him.
No, definitely. So we're on the move here, and this will be great if they can go in and pound something in here with only 3:52 to go before the halftime buzzer. If they can go ahead and put some points on the board here, Darren, how big will that be?
Well, that'll be huge. That'll, give them some little motivation, and give a good coach, give good ammunition for the coach, give a good pep talk. Hey boys, we're not dead yet. Let's rile it up.
So full house backfield tight end Shibley. And that's going, and again, a little bit of room here. Let's see if they can take advantage of that. That's a little bit of a misdirection play. And again, taking advantage of the size of number 31, Antonio Corsi, the big receiver from the South Gloucester Raiders. 5'6", and you're bringing up, he's one of the bigger players on the team. And Corsi, who's down right now, but probably, it took about 4 or 5 of the central defenders to bring him down. So hopefully it's nothing too serious with Corsi. Keep an eye on that, but Corsi brings him down, picks up 8 yards, and they're going to be looking at 2nd and 2 from the 11-yard line here, Darren. And again, 3 minutes to go in the game. Really nice, nice way to go in at halftime if they can score here. And Corsi seems to be okay here. And Corsi, again, you brought it out. Big receiver, 5'9", 165. Or check that, sorry, 5'6", 165. But you saw it there. It took a whole slew of the defenders on the East or on the Central team to bring him down here. So with 2 minutes and 54 seconds and counting, Team Ontario East looking to get up on the board here and avoid the shutout in the first half. In at quarterback, Justin Shibley's gone most of the way since Vanessa went down early in the first quarter in this one. Shibley's got 3 men in the backfield, 1 receiver tight end to the bottom of your screen. They give up the middle. That's going to be brought down. Tough running by number 15, Kyle Prince, a fullback from the Canada Knights organization. And Prince gets the necessary yards for the first down, and he brings them down inside the 5. And again, there's a defender down for Team Ontario Central here. And this is what we talked about a bit, Darren. Perhaps the only real silver lining to that offensive explosion, if you will, of the first half for Central is the defense never rested.
Yeah, we never got a chance to see them, at their full stride or any stride.
No, the defense has never rested. The defense has been on. For all intents and purposes, this defense has been on the field the entire half. And, if this was a tie football game right now, you would be ecstatic if you were Team Ontario, if you're Team Ontario East, simply because you know that you're going to be, breaking away. This is the recipe. This is traditional recipe for football. The only thing is you didn't quite factor in the reason we haven't been on the field we've been on the field is because our offense scores on one play. And a little bit of an injury here, and it looks like he's going to get off. And that looks to be I'll check that. Is that the full? No, it's not the fullback here, so we'll see who it was. Because they got players going both ways here. And that appears to be Brandon Spence. We talked about him before, big number 91. Not the tallest defensive lineman, but a thick kid who, quite frankly, is one of those guys you like. Like I always said, your one tech, your nose, they don't have to be 6'4", 6'5". You almost like the ones that are,
you like that nice fat ass so they can hunker down and take up 2-3 gaps.
Give up the middle, and again, this team is Central getting tougher. That'll bring up second down and goal here. And if I'm the Team East, I just want to pound away 3 times to see if I can't bring it in. Let the clock run.
Give it to Spadaccini maybe again.
No, definitely. Spadaccini or Corsi here. Definitely your 2 of your bigger backs. The one thing I don't want to do, I absolutely positively don't want to do here, is I do not want to leave any time left on this clock. I don't even want to let them touch the ball once, Darren.
No, just like you said, pound it out. Eat as much time as you can. Take your sweet time there. Use your full 20 seconds or whatever amount of time they do get between play time.
So with that, in 1:44 and counting here, second quarter, absolutely beautiful day in the nation's capital here. You're with us on CanadaFootballChat.com. You're probably watching the replay right now. And again, don't forget, folks, check out CanadaFootballChat.com. Get scouted, get trained, and get recruited, quite frankly. The OPC, the Ontario Prospect Challenge, in its second year, growing bigger every year. Find out how you can be a part of it on CanadaFootballChat.com. Just go to Ontario Prospect Challenge or All-Star Games. And that's Spadaccini, and he's got the edge here. Spadaccini going to go, and he fumbles it, and it's going to be recovered. Spadaccini gets his own fumble, and it looked there, and that he did. I think you brought it up. I think that's one of the things Spadaccini is going to work on to kind of bring his game to the next level. You keep in mind, these kids are only 12 and 11, and it's that second gear you talked about. I think Spadaccini's really, and I think it's something he will develop. So with that, here we go. Third down and goal from the 1. And we've got a timeout on the play. Timeout going to Team East. And you know what, Darren? If you're going to take a timeout, now's the time to take it. You want to be sure about this.
Yeah, get all your chickens in a row and all your eggs in a row. And, let's plan it out. And we only got, what down are we? Third down, so 2 more shots.
Third down. My only fear would be, the only thing that would scare me, and I'll tell you what, is whereas if I knew I was going out there and with 56 and a half seconds I call a timeout, And I'm just leaving that Central team another, I want to leave them nothing.
Yeah.
I don't want to leave them 2 seconds. I don't want to leave them 5. I do not want one play. History has dictated that they need an average of 1.9, or I think it's 1.8 plays. I think on their 4 touchdowns, they've averaged 1.8 plays a drive. They're not even at 2 plays a drive, so we'll see what happens here if they get the ball back. So with that brings up a 3rd down and goal. Shibley. Under pressure, this is not good. And again, I think a complete lack of communication. You saw it. And again, this is the MO, and they avoided it here. And Darren, this is going to be a real, because we didn't look at the alternative to not scoring and going into the half is this. And so right now, 4th down, you got to go for it. I guarantee you that this coaching staff has no running plays drawn up for.
Speaking of coaching staffs, we haven't made a comment, but we've got the OCs on each team on the field during the game. And, man, looking at Coach there, before the ball was even snapped, his hands were on his head, and he was cursing in his head, I could tell.
No, it's got to be a little bit frustrating to give, and they just have nothing. It's Spadaccini's met, and that's big number 92. You've already alluded to him. Nicholas Catzian, the biggest man on the field today, and he shows just that it's not just about the size. His bark is as bad as his bite, or his bite, rather, is as bad as his bark, as he goes in there and absolutely shuts it down. And really, what chance did you have there? I'm just a little bit surprised there, Darren. I think that you would, it's not like you're making a bad thing worse. I think that there would be something where you would actually throw the ball there, though.
You know what? In my opinion, they should have just stuck with their bread and butter and what they had going, and maybe given it to Spadaccini or one of their other running backs, and just pound it. It was a yard they had. That's 2 plays. Half a yard to play. It's not much to ask for between your O-line and running backs.
Oh no, and I agree. I'm not even convinced that's not what they tried to do. I think that was a broken play. I don't think that was necessarily a blind rollout, and I agree. If that was the play call, then I think you're playing with a little bit of fire, just because, like you said, you have that Spadaccini pounded down. It's got to be frustrating for both the players and the coaches, just because you're seeing it, because you just haven't had the opportunity to gel as perhaps you might want to, and it's just you see it completely. So with that, unfortunately, 19 seconds left. I think that Team Central is going to do the sportsman thing here, and they're not going to call timeouts. And they give look at wide open, and we've seen this all day, Dare. And again, this is the man that got things started, and that's Cameron Park. And Park, absolutely, and look out. This, I can't believe it. Park's got the edge. Park's down to the 30, to the 20, to the 10. Cameron Park ends the half in the same fashion that he started it, with an absolutely unbelievable run. And, I mean, some of that's Park, Darren, but some of that's just bad tackling.
Yeah, that East team, they're not rapping. Some of the defenders, I don't want to call them out, but they didn't seem like they wanted to hit. They already had it packed in for the first half.
I think you're right. And I mean, Cameron Park, let's call it what it is. Great moves, but he's 100 pounds. Park is 5 feet. He's barely over 4'11", 5 feet, 100 pounds. Remind me of one of those Dave Meggett types, or even a Barry Sanders, a small back with his moves. But again, you look at him, and even at that age, you see Park there. Very slight young man, not the biggest guy. Obviously, very, very quick, very talented. But again, on that run, I'm going to say it was a little column A and a little column B, because there was some missed tackles. And I think you were right. I think they had mailed in for the half, and they shut it down. So what looked to possibly be a ball game emerging with potentially a 26-7, halftime score, with them cutting the lead to 19, now looks at them looking at facing possibly a 34-point deficit. And possibly the first time we've seen any miscommunication with that East team, as it looked like, the Central team, as it looked like they were looking for the handoff and they didn't get there. Again, might have been a designed roll. We haven't seen it yet. But neither here nor there, Darren. That's all academic, because at the end of it, it's, you're looking at, what's the word I'm looking for here? 33-0. It has been all, and I can't stress all, East or Central in that first half. And again, for Canada Football Chat, this is Wayne Jacobs, and I have Darren Castalda, and we will be back with second half action coming up. And folks, welcome back to live action here, where we just got started, and that's pretty much correct, folks. You are looking at the score in the split time here. In a minute, they've just started or continued where they left off and scored another touchdown. 39-0 here for the GTA. We'll call them, or Team East. And with that, Darren, there's not much really to talk to in this. 39-0 here. They're going for the convert. A little rollout action here. They're going to let the quarterback keep it. It's going around the edge. And again, nice running here. And that's number 6. We see him already. That is number 70, or sorry, number 6, Liam Dolan. So a little tiny, 4 foot, I say tiny. I mean, no offense to Liam. Not the biggest guy. 4'6", 68 pounds, Darren. Darren, do you remember when you were 68 pounds?
I think I came out at 70 pounds.
I was about to say, I think you're, take one of your body, your leg would be about 68 pounds minimum. So here we go, back to live action. They don't get the convert here, and I think what we're going to see for much of the second half is just, and that's what they're doing right now, they're just letting this clock run right through. So what they're going to do right here is they're going with runtime, and I think it's a great idea here, Darren. I mean, obviously, it is an all-star format. They are the same age, but it's not Team Ontario East Day, and I think there is a discrepancy. And I think the big thing is talent's such a loaded word. I want to say in speed. I just think there's a difference in speed right now.
It's everything, Wayne. It's, their size, they're bigger boys, they're faster, and they just seem to have, be all on the same page together.
There you go, the handoff. And back in the game, Connor Vaness back in the game for Team East here. And we'll see what they can bring to the table as they just try here. Right now, Darren, what you really got to look at is you got to figure the goal here has got to be just to try to score. You know what I mean? Try to come away with this with a good feeling about it.
Yeah, keep your dignity together, get a few points, and say, yeah, we gave it our best.
So here we go, and again, that Team Central just looks empowered. You look at those D linemen, and usually, you can always tell hands on the head. These guys just look like they want to play. They want to come out. They want to hit. They want to play. So that brings up 2nd down and 13 to go here. Connor Vaness is going to do the end around a little bit. Is that Corsi again? And Corsi, if they can get a block here, Corsi cuts the middle. Nice run, and again, held on to. And you see the size there. That's number 31, Antonio Corsi. 5'6", 165 pounds, has proved to be a major threat on the end around. Again, unfortunately, hard to get excited for an 8-yard run when you're down by 39. But on the other hand, Corsi has provided them with some consistency here. Each time they do that, they seem to be getting around the edge and picking up 5, 6, 7, 8 yards consistently. Vanessa ball's fumbled and is going to be recovered by Team Central. And, I mean, much like the theme of the day, this has just been too much for them right now. And that's number 3, Nehemiah Ford Bowen with the recovery, 5'5", 180. And, again, Darren, it goes to what you talked about in terms of the size. I mean, we look at it, 180, he's not the biggest player on his team. He's, you know what I mean? I think he's 2nd or 3rd on that team. Or sorry, I take that. At 180, he's the 5th or 6th biggest player on his team. At 180, he's the biggest player on the Team East. I mean, there you go. I haven't seen anybody out there on either side of the ball with the quickness of Cameron Park and the cutback ability of Ty Harris. I mean, they got some ballers on this team. So we'll see what happens here. Team Central coming right back out. And again, they're not looking to embarrass anybody or do it. You got to give these kids a chance. And quite frankly, they've broken out of the wishbone into a 3-receiver set. So you have 3 receivers top of your screen to the field. A pseudo bunch almost. What we used to call the old, I would say, I don't want to say twins formation, but like it. And they're just going to run that hitch pass and look out. This could be trouble. They got numbers out there. And nice tackle, open field tackle. But again, you saw what they were trying to accomplish. They had the numbers. That's number 34, Ethan Sutton. And Sutton was there, and quite frankly, you saw it there. They just had the numbers. It's just the execution thing. They knew what they were wanting to do. They put it in the hands of Sutton. And, I mean, again, this isn't them running up the score. This is giving everybody a chance at touching the ball. And clearly in the GTA, one might argue that they drew upon more players because, again, you just see the discrepancy in skill level right now. And with that brings up a second down, and we'll call it 9. One of the odd or rare times I've said second down for this team. Straight drop to pass, fires, nice arm. Oh, and folks, I'll tell you what, they can do a little bit of everything here. That's number, and who else but number 30? That was number Cameron Park, kind of going down the seam there. And you see Park, who's definitely been the man of the hour. I mean, barring some miraculous plays by anybody on either side of the ball, he's got to be our player of the game.
Oh, for sure.
And so we'll take a look here. And again, that one, Darren, looked to be like, again, just inches away from being 45-0. Through the air at that. That brings up third down and 9 for Team Central here. We'll call them GTA. Again, we see that familiar full wishbone formation with the single tight end. They give off. I think that's Ty Harris. And look out if Harris gets in the open field. Harris cuts up. Harris cuts back, and Harris is dragged down at about the 28-yard line. And again, you see it, and that's quite a slasher. I mean, Ty Harris, they have Harris listed as a running back at number 80. Usually the players get to choose their numbers. So I'm thinking Harris probably plays a little bit of both running back and receiver. He seems to have more of that receiver build, but I'll tell you what, keep that name Ty Harris on your radar, folks, because what's absolutely been impressing is his absolute ability on the cutback and flashing through the initial level here. So again, Ty Harris, a name to watch here, and that's what the Ontario Prospect Challenge really, Darren, is all about. That'll bring up first down, and it's just inside. We'll call it the 29-yard line. First time we've seen a split backfield, throwing a little more, flares it out in the flats, and that's probably one of the few things that Cameron Park has not done well today, and that's catch that particular pass. I mean, Park was open, a little bit behind him, not in the sense that uncatchable. If you're a quarterback, you want to kind of put it out there where you can continually run with it. But on the other hand, definitely a catchable ball. But I'm thinking that everybody on the GTA squad, coaches and players included, are willing to give Park a pass on that drop ball right there. I'm thinking even if he drops about 4 more passes, he's earned his keep this afternoon here in Ottawa. Back to the wishbone, a second down and 10 from the 29-yard line, and they're going right back to Cameron Park. Look at that initial move. Very reminiscent of Barry Sanders, quite frankly, in the sense. Not the biggest. He reminds me, again, for you guys out there old enough to remember him, the Giants had a running back, named Dave Megan. He was that scat back that you kind of, you dump it off, you'd flare it out to. And or people even a little more recent, but again, going back there into the late 90s, early 2000s, Warwick Dunn of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Again, that's the type of back that but Cameron Park reminds me of, Darren. Just that he's not the biggest back in the world. He's not going to overpower people, but he doesn't need to do either. He doesn't need to be the biggest or overpower them because, like I said, you can't tackle what you can't catch. I don't care how good your technique is, how strong you are. You can bench 5,000 pounds. You could, squat the entire stadium. But if you can't catch me, none of that matters. Brings up second down and 15 yards to go as there was a flag on the play. And finally, something goes right for Team Ontario East. The Eastern All-Star squad finally gets a break, and that's number 21, or was it number 8 on the pick there, Darren? I believe it was number 8. We'll get a look on that really quickly. So it was either William Bradford or it was Cameron Geary on that, but finally something good happens for Team Ontario East. And we'll take a look here, see if the East can build off this in some way, shape, or form. I mean, obviously the result is not the end result here, Darren, is not in question anymore. But again, you want to score. You don't want to walk away, not having scored at all. And a little bit of a lull in the play. We'll see what's happening here. Darren, your initial thoughts on the first game of 4 today and the first of 2 you'll be doing?
It's a lot better than I was expecting, for a bunch of 12-year-olds. But they are supposed to be the all-stars, so a lot better.
You're a man of many words, there.
Yeah.
You're a man of many words when it comes to that. Bottom line is, when you look at it, and one of the things I love, and this is one of the things that makes me smile, is it's got football in this country, particularly in the nation's capital here, but throughout the country, it's just grown exponentially over the last 2 decades. I mean, just the development of the players at across the board at every level, you see it, and you see it consistently. And again, you're seeing in this, because this is just not what you would expect. Hell, even I would say 20 years ago from a group of 12-year-olds. You just, A, you didn't have these games, and B, you didn't have the athletes to compete in them. But the football IQ is going up there, and the skill of the athlete and the game itself is growing. And you can see the frustration amongst the Team East coaching staff and the players. I mean, again, they're doing a good job. The coaches, don't get me wrong, supporting the players and being very positive. And I mean, again, we're not down on the sidelines, but just by watching their the encouragement of the players. I mean, but it gets to a point where it just becomes hard because I mean, it's just one of those things where things are not going their way. I mean, the execution hasn't been there at all, and I understand it's an all-star thing, but I'm sure that this is not what they had in mind.
No one expects us at an all-star game.
I mean, the reality has been for the East team here, Darren, is that even just stuff that these kids have been doing since they first touched the football. Like, I mean, the Eastern squad seems to have been trouble, doing any type of outside zone running or inside. I mean, I'm not saying that's what they're trying to do, but let's say their leads, they just seem to be the timing's off, or the back or the quarterback is in, just weird stuff I've seen. I remember in a couple of handoff exchanges. I don't even think it has to do with the gelling of the unit, because I mean, again, the quarterback's kind of out past the tackle box to give a lead inside the tackle. The running backs taking 2 more steps than they probably, all stuff that I mean is got to be chalked up to nerves, lack of playing together, these type of things. But again, we just haven't seen it from the Central GTA squad. And around here, and again, it's that penetration. Darren, you brought it up in the first quarter, and it's just one of the things we're seeing is this East team, a lot of misdirection, a lot of play action, a lot of that fun stuff in here. But what's basically happening for them right now is, again, they're getting picked up in the backfield. And we see somebody there making plays, and there's a young man that, I mean, just keep your eye on him for the future. Cameron Park on the field, this time in a defensive back capacity. And with that, Darren, 1:36 to go, so we're just about done here in the third quarter. And again, 39-0 here, and the score, at times you've heard that expression, the score is not indicative of what happened on the field. I would say this is not one of those times. I would say the score is very, very indicative of what's happened on the field, and unfortunately for the Eastern All-Star team, it just hasn't been going their way. But finally, a little bit of a break, if you will, for lack of a better term. They get a penalty, first down here. And back in the game, Jordan Shibley at quarterback. I formation. Shibley going to drop to pass. No chance. Shibley, full-out sprint. Oof. And again, you can't. And we'll see who that is on Shibley. But that was absolutely, again, 54. And it's a question of what's it a combination of here, Darren? Is it just there? That's Damian Foster, 5'4", 160. And again, due to the lack of instant replays, we can't see it. But is it they're overpowering them?
I think it's a little bit of overpowering, and these are just bigger boys. It's just guys that can manhandle the other guy and push him out of the way like he's a rag doll.
Because there is not much you can do as a quarterback, as a coach, as an offense. I mean, you look at Shibley there trying to do a 5-step drop, and when he's hitting this 5-step and he should be hitching up, he's got Foster all over him. And again, look at that. Was that Foster in there again?
Yeah.
I believe it is. Damian Foster. It's just an absolute terror in there, and they've got to do something. I mean, right now, when I watch that play, though, Darren, maybe it's an intimidation factor, but I mean, Foster, nobody even got a hand on Damian Foster.
No, it's he. Once again, I think someone may have blown an assignment there and not blocked him and went right instead of left kind of thing.
I'm thinking you're right, because I'm thinking when that play was drawn up, they didn't say, all right, you know what we need to do is we need to leave the D lineman unblocked and allow him to penetrate.
Yeah,
and push
it's probably the best thing if we just leave that nose tackle unblocked. It'll do us real good, actually.
No, I'm thinking if that is their strategy, they achieved it. But all joking aside, you see it, and again, it's one of those things, and I think it's probably just this is the second year of the OPC in the GTA, and it's the second year with the similar coaching staff, and it's the first year in Ottawa. Last year's Ottawa team was part of the GTA team, actually, and so you had players that just weren't willing to make the same travels, yada, 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 the whole thing. And so perhaps it's just a matter of getting the word out there a little more and maybe, in terms of getting the word, getting a few more bodies at the tryouts and stuff. Because, again, you see it here, and I mean, yes, Toronto's bigger than Ottawa, but we don't generally see this discrepancy of size at the OVFL level. Now, having said that, I've often been a huge proponent.
It just might be something in the water down in Toronto, that's all.
Yeah, no, well, it's funny because I say this, I go, and it's funny, to be fair to the GTA teams, I've often said I think the OVFL has to relook at its format because, I mean, I'm based out of Ottawa, but I'm the first to admit that Ottawa has an unfair advantage in that OVFL. With our population base here in Ottawa, you're basically looking at teams that are providing two teams like each year at the Cumberland and Myers. So I mean, in that respect, there was probably looking for a great showing here with the amount of players that they have. But on the other hand, we'll check here. As a player's coming out, I think he's bleeding, so they got to fix that up there. So they're just going to make a quick substitution. But again, I think that's what it comes down to. But I think in this case, I think the GTA, the Central team, they just went all out recruiting because they have some big boys and some fast boys, and they seem to just have a stable of these running backs. Like I think they could go 3 or 4 deep, but we wouldn't notice a difference. So with that, 3rd down and 16 here. 4th quarter underway, 39-0. Shibley drops to pass under pressure. There's nothing there. He's going to get wrapped up. Shibley's still on his feet, and he's going to be taken out of bounds. And unfortunately for Shibley, there was just nothing there for him at all. I mean, right away, 5 steps, he sets on his 5th, and he's being pressured right away. Probably the smarter thing there is Shibley not throwing the ball away or not trying to force the ball somewhere where there was nothing. And you can hear them down there. That's the spirit of the 12-year-olds that I do like, is they're on there cheering on their offense like it's 0-0, not 39-0, and like it's early in the first quarter. So, again, you can tell that these spirits aren't down. They're enjoying it, and they're taking it for what it's worth. And like you said, Darren, it's losing's never fun or never easy, and losing by a substantial margin is never great. But on the other hand, you completely, you know what I mean? It doesn't contain the same finality, if you will, or the same piece of you that seems to die every time you lose on your team in terms of your leagues or your playoffs.
Well, those games during the season, count every point, every game counts. Where this is just, good fun. Let's put on a good show kind of thing.
No, definitely. So with that, there goes the turnover and downs. And so back on the field is Team Ontario Central, otherwise known as the GTA here, folks. And with that, we got about 12 minutes to go. It is run time, so we'll be out of here in about 13 minutes in terms of saying goodbye till the next game. I'd like to take a chance, as always, to thank the sponsors, Fox 40, and, of course, Canada Football Chat for putting this together, and to all the parents, coaches, and players out there that are making this event, the Ontario Prospect Challenge, grow each year. So, again, a big thanks to our sponsors, Fox 40, and, of course, to the players, coaches, and parents that making such events like this quite possible here in the nation's capital this year. And with that 1st and 10, and I'm sure that right now both teams are quite content. I mean, I think that the Central team here, they're going to take their times in between play calls. They have no desire. Funny enough, and we got a chance to talk with Coach Hoff, one of the one of the coaches involved with the whole program of the GTA team. And Coach Hoff remembers last year, it was the same age group where it was actually, again, a one-sided score for, and right there, we're looking at it again. There's just some running backs here. That's number 34, Ethan Sutton. We've called his name once or twice. He's only 4'8", 4'8", 85 pounds. And again, he just seems to 5-6 yards. And that's Ethan Sutton from the Scarborough Thunder. And many of you that are down in the Toronto area know the football scene will know Roberta Bubba Allen is his coach. So if he's out there watching, or if Bubba's out there and he gets a chance to watch this, well done as always, Coach Allen. 2nd down and 4 to go here. Wishbone formation, a little spread out. They're going to go off tackle here, cuts up. Again, a little bit of mix. Nice job by the back to bounce it out. And again, Darren, you see the difference here. You see the absolute differences. It just seems like these backs, there seems to be like a log jam. They bounce it out, and it's almost like the bowling ball effect where 4 or 5 guys constantly seem to be dropping down in the pit, and as long as that running back can bounce out, they're laughing. So with that, that will bring up 2nd down, or check that, sorry, 1st down and 10, and it's going to be from the 19, and again, not looking to run up the score, but in an all-star game, you want to give the ball to everyone.
Yeah. Everyone wants to get the touch the ball at least once.
So we'll see what happens here. A little bit of a lull in the action. They'll let the clock going. I mean, for good reason. We've said it a couple of times here, but the clock is running, and I'll give credit where credit is due. Team Central doesn't seem to be. I don't think it's that they don't know what they're doing or they're drawing up any crazy ways. I think they're treating this as if, not exactly that, as if it was a game they're trying to run out the clock almost. Like they're taking times in between snaps. They're giving the balls to the back as they've been doing all game. All right, I stand corrected with a little bit of end around action here. And again, get the ball. He's got the edge. This could be trouble. And by trouble, I mean a touchdown. And this is the thing that we've seen that's just consistently been like the difference is it just seems like the cutback for this Team Central, the cutback abilities of not just 1, 2, 3, but all their athletes seem to have that, from Ty Harris to Cameron Park to Mason Watson. And I believe on that one was that I believe that was Oddwin who had the ball there. But again, you see it. They all have great cutback ability, reverse their fields at a drop of a dime. And again, that was Josiah Oddwin, a great run back, and again, gets it down to the 4-yard line. So 15-yard gain here, and Team Central threatening to score again. And Darren, I think they're going to.
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with you on that one at all.
And probably for one of the few times today we've seen it, Ethan Sutton, he's shut down for a stop of maybe, a gain of maybe 1, not even 1. And I think that's the first time we've seen that today, that they've lined up from scrimmage, given the ball to a back, and
nothing.
Time running out here. We'll see one last hurrah, if you will. This probably could end up being the East's or this Team Central's last possession. So I do understand the, giving the ball to the other kids and whatnot, doing the end around. And ball is fumbled. We see it now. Team Ontario East was probably wondering where some of this was in the first and second quarter, because this team looked like a well-oiled machine. And it's only now, late in the game, that they seem to be making some of the mistakes that have plagued Team Ontario throughout the entire game, or Team East throughout the entire game. The Team Central, the East does recover it there, Darren, and a little bit, you know what? Again, showing some fight here. They had a nice drive. They've got an interception, and they've gone ahead and they've recovered a fumble.
Yeah, and they stopped Team Central from getting one more touchdown, and
keep it under 40. And I mean, and you know what? It's not trying to be funny when we say that. It's probably the mantra they went in there with. Okay, you know what? This game is out. We're not going to win. What can we do? You have to look at the individual battles, or if you will, or the small victories. And right there was probably that. Hey, guys, you know what? There's nothing we can do about the first 45 minutes, but what we can do is say, let's try to keep them under 40. let's win this fourth quarter, which is what they appear to be, at least try the fourth quarter. Let's see if they can score some points here. 6.5 to go, and quite frankly, moving the ball down the field has not been that troublesome for them. And so with that, Team East breaks the huddle here. Shibley in at quarterback. They go with 2 running backs, 2 slots, and 2 wideouts. So we got a base standard balance set here from the right hash. Little field side to the bottom of your screen. Shibley pitches it out, gets it out to the back, and again, see, that's cutback here. Let's see, he's got a little bit of open. Look out, if he can get out here, this could be trouble for them. This could be trouble, folks. Looky here, if he can get the block at the edge, and he's going to get it. He's down to the 40. He's down, check that, the 40, the 30, and the 20. Jaden Theodore takes it to the 10. He's going to go in to score. Finally, Team Ontario. And Darren, if you can see, we can't quite see on the bench right now, but that bench is ecstatic, and that's one of the things you got to like about these All-Star games, is you see the kids, you see that even with the score being what it is, and I was just about to give Theodore a little bit of the gears, if you will, because it's one of those plays where it's like, all right, you have to break, like trying to cut in, so to speak. I think he would have been better served to try to just slash the edge there, get the 4 or 5 yards. But it shows what I know. Beautiful run by Theodore, and you know what? Like we talked about, keep him under 40, win the fourth quarter. They've done both so far. And the good thing here is this Team Ontario East, the OPC Eastern team there, they're going to go home and they know they've scored. So there you go for the offense. And again, that was Jaden Theodore from the St. Lazare Stallions. 5'2", 95, showing some of that speed we've seen from the GTA backs today. Shibley. And again, just a really odd-looking handoff there, Darren. That's number 9, Nicholas Matuk from the South Gloucester Raiders. But again, it's just been, I think that's been, if you will, the day in a nutshell. Clearly, that wasn't the play. I mean, it just looks like one of those things where it's like, I don't want the ball, you want the ball. No, you take the ball. And I mean, I know that's not their mentality, but what it is just because, like you said, when they should have zigged, they're zagging. And when they should have zagged, they zigged. So with that, 4 minutes to go in the first game of 4 games here at TD Place in the nation's capital. And Team East gets on the board on a spectacular run by Jaden Theodore. And if I was going to say, I come away with one takeaway from this game today, it's that the running back situation in Ontario is in pretty good hands with some of these 12-year-olds. I know I had the chance to talk with Jonathan Femi Cole, who's expected to do some big things with the University of Minnesota. He's out of the Toronto area, and we've had a couple of big backs go from Toronto and Ottawa to the NCAA. And I mean, with this crop that I'm seeing here on both sides of the ball, you got an impressive future. First time we've seen this I formation, actually second time they do the swing pass. Is that ball live? And I think they're calling it live. And no, the head ref's going to overrule it and call it incomplete. The line judge there was about to call that a lateral. I was going to say, you know what? Heck, get the ball back, get another score on there, and you start to forget the 39 points they scored and come away feeling good about things. And so on that, and again, it's one of those old school from 20, 25, 30 years ago where what you're trying to do there is just get the numbers, the leverage game. And that's exactly what they do, and they're lining it up again. And it doesn't seem, finally they adjust over to it. But again, this is stealing. They're going to throw it out there. And again, you have 3 versus 2. Oh, they got it off.
Another
picked off again. And again, you know what? I'm starting to learn if you go in this young man's area, that's number 8, Cameron Geary. And if you throw in Geary's area, he's going to make you pay. And you know what? In one respect, that's poetic justice there. I mean, I'm not knocking their staff. I'm not doing any of that. But really, to throw the ball like that with 2:39 left, 39-6, I'm thinking there's probably other opportunities to do that. So, again, they have their reasons, I'm sure, but I'm perfectly happy with Geary getting that interception. So with that, Darren, maybe another touchdown here for the Team East? And it's amazing. The good thing with this, Darren, is we're going to walk away. You look at the scoreboard, 39-6, but you know right now that the mantra on the Team East side is going to be something like, you know what? If only we had 2 or 3 more games. Because it looks like they're just hitting their stride right now. Defensively, they seem to be doing what they need to do. And quite frankly here, their offense seems to finally be hitting. So Shibley, who's gone almost
too soon there.
Shibley, who's gone most of the game, almost the distance here, due to the injury to Vanessa. And again, it's just the little things that we've seen. It's not. And again, I agree. Don't get me wrong, Darren. I agree with what you said. They're bigger and faster, but I would say in at least 5 of the 10 plays, it doesn't matter who's bigger or who's faster, who's what, because I mean they're just not able to execute. And I mean execute at the most basic level, meaning turn right when you should be going left and vice versa. And that's been basically the bane of the game for this East time. Shibley, nice play action here, going deep. Shibley's got a man. Oh, and he just underthrew him a touch. Nice ball by Shibley, though. Shows his arm strength there. Shibley, an 11-year-old, put that thing up almost 30 yards. Just a matter of he's just got to throw it a touch sooner. And with that, Darren, now when you take a look, any initial impressions on players of the game and whatnot?
Spedicini there for the East. He sure carried a lot of the load for them.
And from the Central?
What was his number again?
Going with Cameron Park?
Yeah, that running back. He was another workhorse for them too.
Cameron Park's easily, and I mean, I'd like to see the stats on it, but Park's got to be averaging somewhere in and around. I would think 75 yards a carry, maybe. I think he's
running whole fields per carry.
He had 2 runs of 70 or plus, and then every other run was seemed to be 5 to 15 to 20 yards. So 39 seconds here. Time for 2 plays here. Shibley going to go back to Theodore. He's going to do the cutback. Will it work? No. You can only certain tools you only take out once, and right.
Pushing your luck too much there.
No, and you saw it right there. We called his name a few times. Brandon Spence, not the tallest guy in the world, but like you said, gets under the pads, 4'9", and Spence basically just said, no, I've seen this act before. It's not happening, kiddo. Sorry about that. And so right now the clock is running down on this one. This should be the last play. Not quite sure what the discussion's about here, and I think everybody's getting along fine. I don't think there's any need for any debate here at this point, Darren.
No, not much.
So with 14.9 seconds to go, the clock seems to stop. Not quite sure why that is, but they're going to run it, get it going here. So this could be the last or next to last play here. Shibley going to roll out. Shibley drops it off. This is Theodore. Get in again. Theodore maybe gets the angle here, but nice pursuit. And again, that ball, Shibley's just got to learn to roll and throw a little better, but I'm sure as he gets older, he's going to get better at that. And that clock is going to bring us down to 0 here. And once again, folks, thank you for checking out the replay of the Ontario Prospect Challenge. First game, the Minor Classic. And the final score here is 39 for the GTA squad and Team East 6. Darren, we're in agreement, team players of the game. I go with number 29, Dante Spadaccini.
Yep.
And obviously number 30, Cameron Park.
Yep. No disagreement here.
Well, on behalf of everybody here at CanadaFootballChat.com, and more specifically, Darren Castalda, I'm Wayne Jacobs. Thanks a lot for joining us. And, folks, don't forget to check online to find out where you can catch the other 3 games in this classic, both the underclassmen, the JV, and, of course, the varsity finale. Once again, we're at TD Place. Make sure you check out the other streaming broadcasts. Thanks again for joining us today.